And we are live. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Friday before Thanksgiving. I am live an hour earlier today than I normally do on Fridays because I need to drive my son out to a game for a tournament that starts at 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon. So thank you for joining. I know it's a little earlier than usual, but thank you as always. Another amazing week in politics. There are no non-amazing weeks. We now have a law that enforces the Justice Department to release the Epstein files, or at least begin releasing the full Epstein files by December 19th. Never thought I'd see that happen. We have infighting. I think we had 4 or 5 censure measures in the House this week of members, which is insane on both sides of the aisle. So we got a lot going on. Exciting times. So if you are here for the first time, welcome. If you are here for the 50th time, welcome. Couple pieces of business. So first thing you can do that's easy is hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. Second thing you can do that's easy is hit the thumbs up button and like this video. Again, that's free. If you want to support me in other ways, you can via the super chat down there, the rectangle with the $sign in it. You can make a donation to me. If you do donate, I will jump your question up to the top of this line in the chat and make sure it gets answered. Although I always try to answer as many questions as I can. You can also, if you want to become a paid subscriber to my YouTube channel, you can do that. It's called the Diamond Club. It's $6.99 a month. You get 2 to 3 additional videos every week. This week you got 2, and I'm about to upload a 3rd. You'll always every Monday get my podcast with Chuck Todd, my video podcast, which runs about an hour. We talk about politics and other stuff too, sports. You also can, so that's the Diamond Club. If you want to check that out, I'd love to have you. If not, I understand. All right, let's get started. Human NC. Hi, Chris. What happened in politics between the fall of Eliot Spitzer and the rise of Trump to make character no longer disqualifying? Well, I'm not sure. Eliot Spitzer is interesting. I'm not sure that Eliot Spitzer, if you asked Eliot Spitzer today, should you have resigned? I guarantee you he would say no. Because I think the truth of the matter is, it's hard to get rid of these people once they're in office. I mean, you can try to impeach them, you can try to guilt them, but it's harder than you think to get rid of them. And I think he might have tried to stick around. I think he kind of momentum pushed him out, but I think he would have tried to stay if he could have. So I don't know that is evidence that character was disqualifying there. He gave in to a media feeding frenzy. I mean, he obviously acted really poorly using an escort service while he was married, but he gave into sort of a feeding frenzy in the media. And I think what Trump proved in 2016 with the Access Hollywood tape was you don't necessarily have to give in, right? I mean, there were people calling on Trump to get out of the race, even in October of 2016, he didn't. So, I don't know that character. I don't think character is disqualifying anymore, or a lack thereof. I mean, I think it's not just Trump. I've seen it with other people too. And I think what the lesson politicians have learned from Trump is don't get out of the race. Just stay in the race and just see what happens. Patrick Murray. Hey, Chris, congrats on 140,000. Yes, we're over 140,000 now, which is amazing. Trump's meeting with Zoran Mamdani today. What can we expect from this meeting? I mean, I have no idea. So it's at 3 o'clock Eastern. I could see it going in so many different ways. Look, I think that 2 things are true. One, Mamdani, I don't think can just be at constant war with Trump, because Trump can restrict federal funds being spent in New York City, and that will make Mamdani's job much harder. So I think he has to have some kind of working relationship with him. But the other thing that is true is, politically speaking, it is in Mamdani and Trump's best interest to not get along, right? The Mamdani voter hates Trump. The Trump voter hates Mamdani. They're both like a caricature of what the other side hates in the other party. So I don't really know. My guess is it's probably more cordial than you might think. But I truly don't totally know. I think it can go in a lot of different ways. So I'm very interested to see kind of what direction it does go in. Sam, hey, Chris, should Gavin Newsom announce he's running for president now and get ahead of the field? I don't think so. Sam, the problem with announcing now or anytime before the midterms is it looks like you're putting your political ambitions ahead of like what's good for the party. Um, what you need to do right now when you're asked about running for president, if you're Gavin Newsom, is be like, I'm going to think about that. But right now, I'm entirely dedicated to winning those 5 seats in California to put the House in Democratic control and helping in any other way I can. You know what I mean? You don't really want to be raising money, taking staff away from campaigns that are running in 2026 for your 2028 campaign. It just doesn't look good. But I think he will continue to stay in the mix. He will continue to, sort of make clear, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, he's running for president. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think there's going to be a lot of that kind of stuff that he'll do, but I don't think he'll announce, and I don't think he should. Sherry Zimmerman, thanks for being my umpire of choice, calling balls and strikes. No problem. With our newly elected mayor in Seattle is Seattle next after possibly New Orleans for an administration invasion? Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Sherry. Yes, I know the liberal Katie Wilson, the more progressive candidate, beat the incumbent, who's more of kind of an establishment Democrat. Honestly, I don't know. Trump has always been very focused on Portland and Chicago. I don't know about Seattle, but I wouldn't rule it out. I don't think Donald Trump is going to stop sending troops, National Guard troops, law enforcement into big Democratic run cities. I think that's going to continue, not stop. Michael Gates, happy Friday, Chris. Happy Friday, my friend. Do you think George W. Bush's emotional speech at Dick Cheney's funeral was sincere? He must be aware how Cheney's mistakes reflected in his own presidency. It was absolutely sincere. I think that Bush values Cheney, did value Cheney, does value Cheney. I know what you mean. Yes, there is no question that some things that Cheney pushed, particularly as related to the war in Iraq, marred George W. Bush's legacy. But here's the thing. George W. Bush was the president. He could have reined in Dick Cheney if he wanted to. He chose not to. So no, I think it was entirely sincere. I think he really valued Cheney. And I think he was genuinely upset and thinks Cheney is sort of a titan of conservative politics. Brett Green, the best part of the Epstein stuff dying down is Chris will stop making 2 videos a day on it. I try not to make 2 videos on the same topic every day. Every once in a while, like this past week with the House and the Senate voting, and there was more Epstein content. I mean, I'm not going to make a video every single day about Jeffrey Epstein, but when it's a hot topic, I will. And when it's not, I'll make stuff about other things, but I appreciate you. KS, hi, Chris. As the Epstein fiasco develops, how much will it eventually reflect in votes next year? Ukraine plays very little role in elections with Trump keeps surrendering to Putin. Will that change? No. Foreign policy does not move elections unless it's foreign policy with a very direct link to American soil, like September 11th. As for Epstein and impacting the vote, I think it's unlikely. I mean, look, yes, it's a bad story for Donald Trump, no question. Then they've mishandled it, no question. But I don't think the 2026 midterms wind up being mostly decided on Jeffrey Epstein. I think it is mostly decided on Donald Trump's economy. How is it doing? Do people feel like the promises he made are being kept? Right now, the answer to that is no. People do not think Donald Trump was elected expressly to bring prices down and make things more affordable. People do not think he has done that. His handling of the economy, if you ask people how he's doing, 35% approved, 60+% disapprove. So that's what I think will be the main issue. The economy is always a more critical issue than foreign policy, and I think it will be a more critical issue than Epstein. Now, could Donald Trump's handling of Epstein, people believing he's not telling the whole truth, could that have some peripheral tangential effect? Yes, and it's almost certainly negative for Donald Trump. Tabby D, who do you think is a stronger influence in the American public, right-wing or left-wing media? I assume you'll say the right, and what can the left do to combat this going into election years? Yeah, I mean, look, I think over the last 2 decades, the right has been much more influential. Right-wing aligned media has been led by Fox News, has been more influential than the left. I think the left is trying to catch up. I mean, they have things like the Midas Touch, They have lots and lots of people on Substack. They have lots and lots of people on YouTube. So I think they're trying to get caught up, but I would say the right has had more influence to date. D. Fallis, is this AI? No. AI would make me much more handsome. Mike Rocco, why don't any reporters ever hold either side accountable? They never seem to ask any follow-ups or call them out on their stuff. Mike, I think plenty of reporters do, but I take your point. I mean, one of the things that I get very frustrated with is the lack of intellectual consistency of people who watch and follow politics, which is like, when Republicans do something bad, if you are willing to say this is bad, then if Democrats do something bad, you also have to say this is bad. It's not bad or good because your side, the side you agree with, did it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it's bad, it's bad. And if it's good, it's good. And it doesn't really matter which side did it. So that's what makes me frustrated, is the kind of like, well, I mean, Jasmine Crockett, she didn't really mean Jeffrey Epstein when she said that on the House floor. She was just, it's like, no, I mean, if a Republican did something similar, a Democrat would condemn it, and rightly so. So when Jasmine Crockett does it, Democrats should condemn it. Gordon Farley finally made it to your live chat. I've watched you for a long time and love your analysis. Best wishes from Canada. Thank you, my friend. Glad you're here. Jerry Bailey. Jerry, thank you for your donation via the super chat. No question, but thank you for your donation. Valerie. So the other day, you and Chuck Todd said Don Lemon was grifting. I'd like to know why you think that. I don't know if I said grifting. That might have been Chuck. But regardless, here's what I think. Don was, when he was on CNN, I think he tried to shoot it pretty much down the middle. He's not even close to trying that anymore. I mean, I think what he's doing, he understands that. I think he may well believe this too. I'm not saying he doesn't believe this. He may well believe that Donald Trump is, terrible and a threat to democracy and all those things. But I think he also understands there's a lot of audience down that road and a lot of money down the road. He has done extremely well for himself in the independent news space. So that's, I think, what my criticism would be. It's very easy if you're in this independent news space and you're doing politics, it's very easy to say, okay, from a business perspective, what's the best way for me to make as much money as possible and build my following as big as possible? And the way you do that is you either are consistently and extremely anti-Trump or consistently and extremely pro-Trump. It is much harder to do what Chuck and I are doing. I know this is self-serving, but it is. Financially, it's harder to do what we're doing because when you don't always side with one side, there's a lot of partisans who just aren't going to tune into you. Joaquin Varela. Hey, Chris, what would a victory for Trump in the midterms look like? What does Trump have to do to get that victory between now and then? Okay, so I would say a victory for Trump is they keep the Senate and maybe gain a seat or two, and they keep the House majority. I think it's very hard, just given historical trends, for them to keep the House majority. I mean, they have a 3 or 4 seat majority now. Usually that midterm elections are bad for the party in power. So I think that would be really hard. What could he do to help his party's prospects? He needs to stop saying that people's anxiety about the economy and people feeling less than optimistic about the economy is fake news. And he needs to start going out in the country and talking about what he is doing on affordability. What is he doing to lower prices? Don't just say prices are lower on everything. Gas is $2. Gas isn't $2, right? Thanksgiving prices are down 25%. They're not. I know he cites that Walmart's Thanksgiving package that you can take home is 25% less than it was last year. Yes, that's 25% cost-wise less. Yes, that's true. It's also less stuff. So it's like, it doesn't, I think you can't gaslight people into trying to believe that the economy is kicking ass and doing great. I think you got to meet them where they are and then say, here's what we've done to make things better, but I understand that it's still hard. I don't know if he has that in him. TDAV 707, as far as the Epstein files and threats to read the victim perpetrators, my question is, who has who over a barrel on this, the Republican House or Trump? I don't know if it's a choice between the Republican House and Trump. I mean, look, I think that the thing I am most interested in going forward is How do Republicans in Congress, House and the Senate, every one of them but Clay Higgins from Louisiana, voted to release the Epstein files within 30 days? If and when the Department of Justice slow walks this, and they do, they drips and drabs here and there, what do they say? Are they just like, yeah, that's fine, no big deal? Or are they like, you need to release this, public pressure, et cetera, et cetera? I don't know, because I do think there's going to be a slower timeline than certainly a lot of the victims and a lot of Democratic members and some Republican members would like. And the question is, how do the Republican members who voted for this, maybe because Trump told them to, but how do they react if and when that happens? J.R. Cummings, with Democrats having a trifecta in Virginia now, it got me thinking about the National Popular Vote Compact. Why do you think there aren't more states that have signed onto it? Michigan, Wisconsin, Virginia. Do you think there will be a push? Probably not. I mean, I know that I think they have to get up to 2/3 of the states to sign. It might be 3/4 of the states to sign the National Popular Vote to turn it into a popular vote rather than the Electoral College. I don't think we're going to get there. I mean, we'll see. Like, who knows? I didn't necessarily think that last Friday, I wouldn't have said this Friday we'd be talking about how the Epstein files are going to be released by December 19th, right? So who knows? But I'm a little bit skeptical. Eric Mays, how much pushback will Trump get for reversing the 1973 Endangered Species Act? I didn't see he had done it, but sadly, I don't think it will be as much pushback as you might think. Herbert Williams, has construction halted at the president's house? I assume you mean the ballroom building. And no, I do not think construction is halted there. I think they are full speed ahead. The undergrad, CFP. Hello, Chris. Have you looked into South Dakota's 2026 gubernatorial Republican primary? The incumbent, Kristi Noem's former lieutenant governor, just entered the race and is currently polling in second. I haven't, but I will. For people who don't follow governor's races, there are 36 governor's races on the ballot in 2026. Like, more than 2/3 of all governors are up, or their seats are up in 2026. It's going to be amazing. That includes like Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Georgia, including interesting states like South Dakota too. So I'll take a look at it. Energy Donk. Hi, Chris. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Has Trump lost the optics battle for both the Epstein and ICE situations? For me, it appears the Catholic Church engagement has weighed heavily on ICE involvement in communities. So I think that there are two things are true as it relates to the ICE stuff. I think people broadly, if you ask people, do you think that people who have come here illegally should be deported? They will say yes. If you ask them, do you think we should have ICE agents outside of Home Depots and outside of schools and outside of these sorts of things and grabbing people, some of whom may not be here illegally? I think they would say no, right? So that's the thing here is like what wins out there in the public imagination. As for Epstein, yeah, I mean, I think they have. Look, I cited a Reuters poll yesterday. It said that 70% of the public, 71% of the public believes there's an Epstein client list that the government is hiding. 60% of the public believe the government knows more about how Epstein really died than they're saying. Like, there's a lot of suspicion around it. So I think and look, Donald Trump spent 135 days from July 8th when Pam Bondi and Kash Patel put out the memo saying there's nothing to see here till Tuesday when they voted on it. They spent 135 days on this. They botched it. I mean, I'm not saying it was ever going to be a great issue for Donald Trump, but man, they botched it. Jerry Bailey. I assume it's not that Jerry Bailey, the jockey, but Jerry, thank you for your donation via Substack super chat. Love your takes, Chris. How do you think the Kilmar Abrego Garcia nightmare is going to end? Well, so because he lived around Maryland, around where I live, you get updates on this pretty regularly. So there's currently a hearing because I believe the Trump administration is trying to deport him to Liberia in Africa, some country in Africa. I think it's Liberia. And the judge was like, why wouldn't we deport him to Costa Rica? Like, why? It seems like you're just doing that to like excessively punish him. So I'm interested to see, how it plays out. I mean, it has been long. This is a long thing. Franz George Leopold Pagel, my friend. This morning I saw a report that some counties want to leave Virginia and join West Virginia. Your thoughts? Also, some advice for parents from your experience, some advice for parents: get sleep now before your kid is born. Yes, there are some counties that occasionally make noise about leaving Virginia for West Virginia. I think it is very, very unlikely to happen. Dragonfire, you started early. I did. I put a note everywhere that I could, including on YouTube, saying I'm starting at noon because I got to go to something, so I can't do one. Lynn Dolphy, Chris, you have a great channel and deserve millions of subscribers. Let's hope. We're on the march. John C., given judges' rulings on the Texas map, will California redistricting stand? Would be wild for Dems to come out on top of all this. Yes. So there was initially, I think, a provision in the California redistricting thing that said if this is only if the Texas map stands. I think they took that out. So yes, it's possible that the Texas map would go back to the gerrymandered map, and California would stay with the map that they passed on in earlier this month, and that would be a +5 for Democrats, which is wild, right? Sam, thoughts on that, Ryan? Sam, thank you for your donation via Super Chat. Thoughts on the Ryan Lizza post? Felt like no one came out looking good. How many inappropriate relationships with POTUS candidates have you had? Well, that's an easy one, 0. So here's the deal. I know Ryan and I know Olivia Newsy. I know Ryan a little bit better. We're more contemporaries. Olivia is younger than me. I like them both. Yes, I read Ryan's post. Yes, I was stunned when at the end he said he found evidence that Olivia was having an affair with Mark Sanford, in addition to the affair we know, or the emotional affair that she was having, or I don't know, with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So yeah, I read it and I was like, holy cow, like this is crazy. But ultimately it's sad. It's two people's lives. Well, it's more than two people's lives, but it's their lives. And I know Ryan is going to write more about it. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see. Hector Gubat, do you think this administration will recover from poor polling based on their current policies, not on altering their messaging? You got messaging and policy go together. You can't have good policy with bad messaging. You can't have good messaging with bad policy. So they got to get out there and sell it. And that's all around the One Big Beautiful Bill. What is the One Big Beautiful Bill going to do to bring down costs? It's a massive bill. It's one of the largest domestic spending bills of all time. What's it going to do to bring down costs for the average person? What is it? Right? They got to go out and sell that. Donald Trump needs to go out and sell that. Yeah, no question. Herbert Williams, how will Jeffrey Epstein files be duplicated? I don't know what you mean. I mean, they're going to make copies of them and release them. Q Finch, absolutely phenomenal channel you've made. I love getting my news from you over Legacy Media any day. Thank you. Yes, I'm doing everything that I can to build it. So thank you. M. Stravelli, I got skipped. Oh, I didn't see it. Is MAGA going the way of the Tea Party? Doesn't feel like a healthy brand anymore. No. I think what's happening with MAGA is it's starting to consider its post-Trump phase. So Trump united a lot of disparate elements in that kind of national populist area, and they were all kind of united under his personality, right? Like his force of personality and his fame. Without him, which I assume we will be in 2028 and beyond, it's unclear like what it looks like, and I think that's what people are figuring out right now. So I don't think it's going to go away. I don't think it'll go away when he passes away. I think it will still be a strain in American politics. I think the question is, like, what does it look like? Is it the kind of America first economic populism of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Steve Bannon? Is it the kind of techier AI future of JD Vance, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk? Is it somewhere in between? Right? I think that's the fight that's happening. That's a really good question. Jedi Ghost Bear. Hey, Chris, I've noticed Trump constantly says you aren't going to have a country anymore. When he doesn't get his way, tariffs, ICE, etc., how long does he keep that up? It's just a rhetorical tick. I mean, he does say it all the time. I mean, he spoke to the U.S. like a group of U.S. and Saudi businessmen on Wednesday at the Kennedy Center, and he said if Kamala Harris had won, the country wouldn't have existed right now. Like, what does that even mean? Like, I mean, It doesn't make any sense. J Kitty, hi Chris. What's your take on Sheila Rufilis McCormick and her indictment? I mean, if for people who haven't followed this, this is a Florida Democratic congresswoman. She was indicted this week on allegations that she got $5 million in FEMA in disaster funding funneled to people in and around her orbit who then put that money into her campaigns. I mean, look, there's an innocent until proven guilty thing, right? Like I believe in that, but man, it doesn't look good. J.R. Cummings has an update on national popular vote. They only need to get to states equaling 270 electoral votes. They're presently at 209 with Pennsylvania, Kansas, and South Carolina pending, which is 34, only 61 electoral votes away. Anyway, thanks for taking the question, for doing this. Thank you for that. I don't know, right? I mean, I don't know where we get to. Stephen Richards. Hey, Chris, do you think Pete Hoekstra gets recalled from Canada, or is this part of the overall trade tariff dispute that Trump is orchestrating? Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. Is Pete Hoekstra the ambassador to Canada? I know he's not in Congress anymore, but I don't know. I don't know where we end up with that. Alpha Buckeye said Liberia is a good fit for Garcia. Okay. By the way, for people who have questions, I have only like a very limited number of questions left that I haven't answered. I will answer those, but if I don't have any more questions, I'll probably just end. I know we're on the early end. I know I did it an hour earlier, so people who are used to one might not be here. I know it's the week before Thanksgiving. I get all those things, but if you have questions, throw them in. Now's your time. The undergrad FCP. CFP, what exactly does the movement toward removing the Department of Education? Do you trust that Trump, Linda McMahon are being genuine about removing the bureaucrats or just moving them to other departments? So hard to know. I mean, I think what they're trying to do is defund it and put that funding in the states. They can't get rid of the Department of Education, honestly, but they can bring its sort of imprint way down. That is something that Republicans, conservatives have wanted to do for a very long time. They appear to be doing it. Are they genuine? Golly, that's so hard to know. Marquarius, do you think Georgia's governor's race will flip to a Democrat based on what we know from these off-year elections? If so, who's the most likely Democrat to win? I'll miss Brian Kemp. So I think the Republican field is stronger. The Republican field is Chris Carr, the state attorney general, Burt Jones, the lieutenant governor, and Brad Raffensperger, who is the secretary of state. I think that's a better field than the Democratic field is Jeff Duncan, who used to be the Republican lieutenant governor, who switched parties due to Trump and is now running for governor. Keisha Lance Bottoms, the former mayor of Atlanta. There's a state senator named Jason Esteves in there. I just don't think the Democratic field is super impressive. But I don't know. I mean, the question is like, what does Georgia look like in 2026? Look, Georgia is much more Republican than Virginia or New Jersey, right? So don't assume because Democrats won in Virginia and New Jersey, that means they're going to win in Georgia. But that will be a marquee race, no question. Spaceman Spiff, terrific stuff. Love Calvin and Hobbes. What's your take on the DOJ's apparent goof in Trump's case against Comey? Are you reassured that Trump's attempt to corrupt DOJ and other federal institutions will always be limited by the administration's incompetence? Yeah, I mean, I talked to my friend who's a lawyer, and he's like, this is like lawyering 101. Like, not having the grand jury see all of the indictment before they sign off on the indictment is usually grounds for dismissal of the case. And yeah, look, I mean, to me, it's evidence that the judiciary branch is standing up for itself, as it should. It's a co-equal branch of government. So yeah, I think if you are one of those people who's like, democracy is over, everybody's capitulated to Trump, it seems to me like this is evidence that that's not the case. Dan W., who is a member of the Diamond Club, my membership only tier, if you want to join, I hope you do. You get 2 to 3 more videos a week. Dan W. says, the new Beatles album out today. Stones or Beatles? I'm more of a Stones guy, but the older I get, I can appreciate the Beatles. I did not know there was a new Beatles album out today. I'm a Beatles person. I think the Beatles are the single greatest band of all time. Brad Ramsey, I must have missed it. What did Jasmine Crockett do? Okay, so Jasmine Crockett went on the House floor this week, and she said, all these people have gotten donations. All these Republicans have gotten donations from Jeffrey Epstein or Epstein. Okay. With the insinuation being it was that Jeffrey Epstein, right? And then she went, and then it turns out it was like the donations were from a guy named Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor in Florida or something. And then Crockett goes on CNN, and Caitlin Collins rightly says, like, it seems like you got this wrong. And Jasmine Crockett's defense was, well, I said, Jeffrey Epstein, not the Jeffrey Epstein. It's like, come on, man, it's so dishonest. Like, you were clearly trying to slander them, and you got caught, or you did bad. You and your staff did bad research, and you won't apologize, which is just depressing. Lee Heng, do you think Mary Peltola will run for anything? Yes, I think she will run for either governor or Senate in Alaska in 2026, and I lean Senate, which is crazy because I think she has a better chance of getting elected governor. But Eric Mays, I learned this week that if Canada can't vote on their annual budget, that triggers an automatic re-election. Carney just won back his job by passing their budget. I wish we could do that. Totally agree. Omni Oral Non, what do you think is the most underreported story right now? Anything flying under the radar that we should be paying attention to? I mean, I don't know that it's under the radar, but I would say Donald Trump's numbers on the economy are really, really bad. And I don't think people are totally aware of that. I think and how much that's going to impact the election. Oh, Brendan Fleming, my friend, thank you for your donation as always via Super Chat. Brendan says, happy Friday. For 2026 and beyond, do you think a more winning strategy for Dems is to talk minimally about Trump and focused almost entirely on improving the economy and standard of living? Yes, 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 100%. People who hate Trump already vote for Democrats. People who love Trump already vote against Democrats. The issue is the people who don't feel strongly either way, right? Like, that's the issue. They don't hate Trump like the liberal base does. Talk about the economy, talk about affordability, talk about prices at the grocery store, all those sorts of things. Yeah, I think that would be really smart. And Brendan, thank you as always for your donation. Let's see. J.R. Cummings, what 1 and 2 sleeper 2026 races that aren't on the map right now will be more competitive than we think come next November? I can see the Alaska Senate race being competitive if Peltola runs. I think Iowa could be interesting. I think Ashley Hinson, Iowa Senate race, I think Ashley Hinson's a really good candidate. I think the issue is that Josh Turek, if he's the nominee, has an amazing story. This is a guy who was born with cerebral palsy. He had spina bifida, He had 21 surgeries in his first 12 years of life. He's in a wheelchair. He's a state rep from a district Donald Trump won. I mean, or a state senator from a district Donald Trump won. A lot of interest there. Now, he's got a primary. It's not for sure he'll win it, but it's interesting. Richard Godshaw, I've watched a bunch of News Nation. It's great. I know you like Chris Cuomo, but what's your view of Bill O'Reilly? I don't really know him. I mean, Bill O gets ratings. Like, people watch Bill O. I know that's a thing. He's very tall. I will tell you that. Bill O'Reilly, very tall. Stephen Richards. Yes, Hoekstra's ambassador to Canada has made many controversial comments in regards to tariffs and trade and has thrown around 51st state from time to time. Well, Stephen, he's doing that because he wants to keep his job with Trump. Right. But yeah. Michael DiVincenzo. Hey, Chris, Jonathan V. Last of the Bulwark wrote this week that we may be past the most dangerous phase of Trump's authoritarian project. Would love your take. Thanks. Yeah. I mean, look, my view has always been that Donald Trump is going to be a dictator and destroy democracy is overblown. I never saw, certain institutions capitulated, including Republicans in Congress, including law firms, including big business, including tech. But I was always skeptical that this was the end of everything. So yeah. Joe MKTG, which is more expensive, travel soccer or travel baseball? Probably travel baseball because those bats are so expensive. Let's see. I'm trying to get people who have not. Jerry Bailey, who do you think would have an edge in Andy Beshear versus Gavin Newsom for 2028? Gavin Newsom. He's more liberal. In a primary, I think Andy Beshear is going to struggle. No question. I think he's a really good potential VP, but I think he'll struggle in a general. Keith Kemp, do you know that De La Soul has a new album? Yes. My friend who's really into music told me that. I can't believe I didn't know this before, but yes, I've already listened to 3 or 4 tracks. It makes me so incredibly happy. They were by far my favorite hip hop group in the 1990s. I love them. I'm thrilled, and I miss Dave, aka Pasta News, aka True Guy the Dove. Every day. He is amazing. It's like I miss Fife from Tribe Called Quest. Richard Godshaw. Richard, thank you for donation via super chat. Richard says, thank you for doing this weekly. Always happy to do it. DMN. Hey, Chris, the public is unlikely to be satisfied with the upcoming release of the Epstein files. Do you think we move on from this, or does this eventually boil over to some kind of breaking point? Can I take option C, which is we don't move on, it doesn't boil over, but it continues to be kind of a low hum in the political system? That's what I think. Bill Reeve, do you think Trump's attempted consolidation of power is showing signs of losing steam? I agree with you, Beatles, best band ever. Yeah, I mean, look, I think that Donald Trump may be subject to some political gravity here, which is, look, he is a lame duck president. He can't run again constitutionally. You've seen more cracks in the Republican base than we've ever seen before, from Marjorie Taylor Greene to Ted Cruz to John Thune. Does it continue? I don't know. I will note, in a Reuters poll that came out this week, Trump's approval rating among Republicans dropped from 89% to 82% in a month. If it goes into the 70s, I think you'll start seeing more rebellion from elected officials. Human NC, thank you for your donation via Super Chat. I know you don't think this is the case, but what if something comes out that provides strong evidence that Trump committed crimes with Epstein? Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I mean, if it happens, cross that bridge when you come to it. But I think even for Donald Trump, that might be a bridge too far. I think that would imperil his presidency. Let's see. M. Stravelli, I know you're leaning towards a progressive, but I feel most drawn to Melanie Stansbury because of the centrist CIA mom, tough as nails vibe. I think that's the kind of candidate that can bring votes. Yeah, I don't think Melanie Stansbury is a member of Congress in New Mexico. I don't think she's going to run for president. I'm not leaning toward a progressive or a liberal winning the nomination. I just think people who dismiss AOC's chances at being the nominee are being ridiculous. I'm not saying she's going to win. I just think she has a real chance to win. Marilyn Lair, who is a member of the Diamond Club, points out that the Department of Justice reversed course and says now that the full grand jury did, in fact, see the Comey indictment. So why did they say they didn't? I mean, again, I understand what they're doing. They're trying to preserve the case, right? But, man, that's fishy. Let's see. Obama. Hey, Chris, have you ever seen the Comey Rule series with Jeff Daniels as James Comey from a few years ago? And if so, how do you feel about its historical accuracy of Comey himself in the 2016 election? I have not seen it. Maybe I should. I can check it out. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Omni Orum Non says Andy Bashir would be a great general election candidate. I agree. Luke Amsden. Thoughts on the Utah congressional redistricting? Do you think Blake Moore is in trouble? He's the only member of Utah's congressional leadership. So I think what will happen is, so for people who don't know, Utah has 4 congressional districts. They are currently all represented by Republicans. Okay, I think you guys can probably hear me again. I don't know why that happened. I didn't mute myself, just muted randomly. That's so weird. Okay, so I was answering the Utah redistricting question. Let me do it very quickly. Basically, in Utah, a judge said that the Utah maps were disenfranchised voters in Salt Lake and that a more Democratic district had to be drawn. Ben McAdams, former Democratic member of Congress, has already announced for that seat. I don't think Blake Moore will be the odd man out among the Republicans. I think it will be Burgess Owens because I think he's on the older end. He, by the way, played in the NFL, won a Super Bowl with the Oakland Raiders. So I think that's the way it will go. I think Blake Moore will stay because I think Blake Moore is more of an up and comer. By the way, the bet out of all the people who posted that they couldn't hear me, by far the winner is Rui Creverio, who said, no, I'm sorry. I like you, Rui, but it's Florida Con 16 who said Chris and audio issues. Name a more iconic duo. Well said. Well, that made me chuckle. Okay, let me just see if there's any more. Oh, hey, Chris, wouldn't it be fun if Obama ran for Congress like John Quincy Adams? Yes, that would be amazing. I answered that question, but no one heard me. Ali Catala says, Fife Dog Rip, the 5-foot assassin. Knocking fleas off his collar. R.I.P. Human NC, I think you are less politically opinionated than Chuck Todd. Patrick Murray, Chris, did you ever get the chance to see Death by Lightning? It was great. I'm through one episode. This is the James Garfield, Charles Guiteau show on Netflix. Yes. So I'm watching. I'm also watching the Ken Burns American Revolution documentary. Mark Query says, Chris, love your passion, but can't hear you. Yes. No, my mic isn't unplugged and I didn't mute myself. I don't know what happened. It just stopped working suddenly. Everything was connected. Everything was working. Anyway, let's see. Jerry Calderon, will we ever see a revision to the miserably abused presidential pardon? Man, I hope they get rid of presidential pardons entirely. Congress needs to do it now. It's so abused by both sides. It's awful. Joaquin Varela, do you think the Supreme Court will overturn the Texas redistricting ruling? If so, what would this precedent mean for other gerrymandered states? Yeah, they might. I mean, we'll see. Like, it's obviously going to get appealed to the Supreme Court, and then we'll see what they do. Wait, did my audio cut out again? No. Okay, just checking. Lou says, I missed your question. Lou, repost it and I'll try to get to it. Hector Guba, what do you think of the channel Let's Talk Elections? It's run by a very young, articulate, and seemingly intelligent person. Don't know about it? We'll check it out. Omne or Omnon, I think it's reasonable to say Trump was never likely to succeed in becoming a dictator, but I think you have to be blind to say he doesn't want to. Sure, I've always said Donald Trump has authoritarian tendencies, and if he could snap his fingers, he would be sort of a dictatorial type ruler. The thing is, as I've always said, that U.S. democracy is stronger than people give it credit for, and I think that really matters. Okay, apparently the stream is failing in and out. If so, I guess I probably should go. Oh, Henry Thompson, do you think Prop 50 will be overturned? No. I think Prop 50 is going to stand, and I think the California map is going to work. All right, so I'm losing people from the stream. Not sure what happened. Technology sometimes gets the better of us. Thank you for everyone who joined early. Very much appreciate it. I will be back to the normal time in coming weeks. That's 1 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you for doing it. I wanted to fit it in. I didn't want to not do it today. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Eat a ton of pumpkin pie, which everyone knows is the best pie. Can't fight me on that. Do me a favor. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Like this and all of my videos if you can. If you want to become a member of the Diamond Club, go to the membership tab on my YouTube page. You can do that. Spread the word about what I'm doing. If you want more writing from me, go over to Substack. Just type my name and Substack in and it will come up. You can become a paid subscriber over there. I always say this, any donation you make goes directly to me continuing to do this kind of stuff. So if you support it, I really hope you support it. So financially and otherwise. Spread the word. Take care. Have a great Thanksgiving. Eat some pie for me. Be well.